When I was 418, between you and I, my wife, who's from the South, would make the whole packet of Oscar Mayer center cut bacon, the whole pack, every morning. That was my breakfast.
You would eat the whole packet?
The whole package with 3 eggs, a half a loaf of Wonder Bread, and butter, and a 16-ounce Coke to boot.
A Coke on top of it?
Oh, yeah, I could drink 2 Cokes for breakfast.
Oh,
She's half black.
and then the wife convinces you to leave the royal family. Like, I'm out. I don't need you guys. Which is crazy, because don't you just get free money?
Dude,
Like,
give me my allowance.
What do you get when you're a royal?
You get a stipend.
You get a
What's
get a
the
bunch of
stipend?
cash.
Like,
I'm sure it's
you
a
spend
million
on
a
anything
month.
you want?
Yeah, what about the countesses?
Yeah.
Do they get paid? Like
Yeah,
less?
all of them.
That's a good question, right? Like, what's the chart?
How far down
Yeah.
do you go before you're like you don't get a check?
What do you
anymore?
think you get if you're a prince? What do you think a prince gets?
Oh, it's all
All your
jewels
bills
and
paid?
rubies
I
and
bet
shit.
publicly. I bet
Nice.
publicly their salary's nothing.
Right.
What they show, but then they
It's
have
all-
fucking
Well, there has
jewels.
to be some. They do get paid something, though, right?
Yeah.
That they show.
Then I saw one episode of that dumb Crown show, and it was the Queen bitching about how her fucking private yacht is too old, and they're gonna have to do renovations.
She's the
Like,
queen.
turn this the fuck off. Why do you care about this?
Gotta
I got in a
nice
fight
yacht.
with my girlfriend about that show. I was watching. I started saying "up the rah" the whole time. I was like, "I'm fucking Irish. Fuck these people." Then she made me get a 23andMe. She was like, "You're not even Irish." So I just did it yesterday.
When I went to the Pakistan versus India, that's bigger than the Super Bowl. More viewers than the Super Bowl in the world.
Really?
Pakistan versus India.
Soccer?
No, cricket.
Cricket?
Cricket.
Really?
Bigger than the Super Bowl. More viewers than the Super Bowl. What? Yes, Pakistan versus India. I saw about 80 Rolls-Royce Cullinan trucks in the parking lot. I'm like, what kind of wealth is over here? Those are $500,000 cars.
The other thing they would do that's fucked up, they caught guys slipping, like some U.S. guys were trying to make their way across. They would cut their horses loose in the middle of the night, and then they would slowly follow them from a distance while they starved to death. So they'd be on horseback at the top of a ridge, just, a few hundred yards away, laughing at them. And these dudes are walking, no water, don't know where they're going.
Why do I need money?
So you don't, go crazy? You don't have a Ferrari or anything nuts?
No. I think living your life chasing like a nicer car and a bigger and bigger box to live in is kind of like a dumb way to go about life. Funny enough, I lived in like a super below average home, and I kind of learned why famous people don't live in below average homes, because someone broke in, stole everything I owned. So I had to get a little nicer house for security reasons, but before I was robbed, I'd be like, my place is like a little duplex, $700 a month. You get a roommate's $360 split.
Well, that's what's wrong with the world, right? What's wrong with the world is some people are in they have a terrible hand of cards they've been dealt, And my point about food is that the people that are gonna suffer the most are the people that rely on the cheap food.
Yes, your
as soon
point
as
is
that cheap
valid.
food gets pulled away, then a lot of those supermarkets and a lot of those fast food stores that rely on that factory farm food, they're going to be in a bad situation. Things are going to be much more expensive. And if things are much more, if they make animals live like, what is that guy's name? Polyface Farms, Joel Salatin. Yeah. He's a fascinating cat. I had him on my podcast before. He's sort of a farm reformist. And what he believes is that these animals should live just like animals. When he has pigs, he puts them in a fenced area, but he moves the fenced area every day. So, like, the pigs move to a different spot. And so they're just constantly foraging and eating acorns. And he's a monster.
He still is.
He's the biggest genetic freak maybe I've ever seen in the sport. What's incredible with Brock is that Brock went from pro wrestling to being the UFC heavyweight champion, and did so with such a short amount of time of training in MMA. Winning a world title against a guy like Randy Couture, like what that guy did is nothing short of insanity. Like no one's ever done that before. To get in there and beat a guy like Randy, who's, one of the best of all time. Like, Randy was a real pioneer, and Randy was still really at the top of his game back then.
The reason that white people are inferior is because they don't have enough melanin in their skin.
We have a lot of weird shit over here. Everybody has guns. Very interesting.
Yeah.
If you were looking at us from another country's perspective, you're like, what a fucking crazy place. They,
Yeah.
Guns.
Free speech. They all have guns.
Mental illness.
So much mental illness. They celebrate it.
A lot of pharma. A lot of drugs.
Mental illness.
No wonder
Celebrate
there's so
it.
many homeless people. We made it seem cool.
What percentage of celebrities come out of America worldwide? It's a fucking got to be a giant number.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they come here. Like all the Canadian funny people
yeah.
come here.
There's like 3 Chinese stars that ever got known here.
Well, that K-pop's huge.
K-pop.
Yeah, they're huge over there, but like Jackie Chan, Bruce
Jackie
Lee.
Chan, exactly.
Who else?
I don't know.
Yao
Jet
Ming.
Li.
Dr. Ken.
Yao Ming.
Who else?
Dr. Ken. No. But
The pandas, they're all China.
Pandas.
Pandas.
Bobby Lee. Who else?
You know, China leases us pandas.
They lease
No.
them.
Those are leased to us. We don't own
They
those.
call those back if they
damn it.
want.
Yeah, and if we have a panda on our soil, they get it.
How are you so good at rock, paper, scissors?
Skill, muscle, intuition.
Intuition. Can we play right now?
You want to play?
Yes.
Oh, but I only play for stakes.
Okay. What do you want to play for?
If I win, I do the programming on your show for a week.
No. That's worth a lot of money. You can fuck off. There's nothing that you could give me that would be worth a week of programming on the show. What are you going to give me? You'd
What
have
about
to
a day of programming?
You'd have to give me a spectacular amount of money.
That's fucking hilarious.
Connor got mad because I said that his piss looked like it could melt a USADA cup, and he said it looks like my piss could melt a USADA cup too. And he's correct.
You're not fighting.
Connor, I'm not hating that. You look great.
Yeah.
And by the way, he does have a legitimate reason for doing whatever the fuck he's doing. Even thing that I was attacked on more than anything in my entire life is saying that I think it's ridiculous to have a trans woman compete against women in mixed martial arts. I was like, you want to have them do it in chess? You want to have them do it in something that's non-physical? Sure. You want them to be recognized as a woman? You sure?
A tough woman can beat a variety of men.
Oh, yes.
But a really tough man can beat all women.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
They want to pretend that you can even out the playing field with hormones. No, you can even at a little. Female orca, the matriarch, the head of this female orca pack, the head of this orca
And
pack.
when you say
right?
orcas, what are you talking about?
Killer whales.
Oh, damn. All right.
That's an orca.
Oh, God.
So they started sinking boats, and they're teaching each other how to sink boats. Apparently, this boat fucked up one of these orcas. Because sometimes what happens is something will go wrong, and a propeller will hit. They've happened all the time with sharks. It's happened with whales. Propellers will fuck up a dolphin. Or an
yeah.
orca.
My friend Dave got pushed off a boat and he got hit by it. When we went over him, he got pushed off the front.
Oh, jeez.
And
he
it
got
fucking
by the
hit him.
propeller? Where did it
Yeah.
hit him?
I'm not sure. He wasn't that great to start off with, but it didn't help him. But I don't think it harmed him much. You know, it's like
It helps some people. Some people get whacked and it helps them.
It helps them.
You know?
The fact that like this is a conversation in like the UFO universe that's happening, which is watching all these like
The fact that
hardcore.
I'm still wearing a stethoscope.
I just realized that my thing fell off. The like hardcore skeptics are now. It's just interesting to watch, and again, until I see a UFO, I'm going to be skeptical.
Yeah, super skeptical.
But it's interesting to watch the gradual shift that's happening in people who are like big time debunkers. There is not like, okay, I think they're real, and I don't blame them for saying I don't think they're real, because it's like really they're still going off of like just people saying it's real. But the fact that the people saying it, like Marco Rubio coming out now, did you see that shit?
Right, but isn't it interesting? This is my observation. What they're saying is they talk to people who say this.
Right.
That's everybody. It's including Grush. Grush is saying that he has access to information and he was aware of information. He was aware of things that the public wasn't aware of, and so he wants to be a whistleblower because the public deserves to know about these things.
Yeah.
But he has no access to it.
Well, Rubio said he talked to people in the government who said they had firsthand.
Right, but he talked to people who said they saw the thing.
Under oath, though, right?
Right. But where are those people? Like, until those people are
Right.
standing in front of the camera going, I was on the spaceship.
Yeah.
I met the entities. They talked to me through telepathy.
Yeah. I think we might be close. They've got that hearing coming up. And I know that a lot of the or I like to believe that a lot of the sort of careful wording of things right now is to protect people who worry that they'll get killed. They have a sense of like, shit, man, they're going to kill me if I tell you this, but because he did it, I'm going to come out and say it. And, you know, so I think they feel like, shit, we've got to be very, very careful to protect these people. I don't see any benefit for any body in the government to go on statement saying that they've talked to people within the U.S. military who have seen UFOs. What's the benefit there? Like, if it's not true, you're going to look like the biggest dipshit on earth. You're going to be ridiculed. It's going to ruin your career potentially as a politician. So I don't see much of a benefit in them coming out and saying that stuff. That's the part where it's like, I can't trace how Marco Rubio, what's he going to, the next time he runs, he's going to be like, I'm the guy who got tricked into thinking there was UFOs.
Right. Yeah, it has to hit sort of a wall of public demand, you know, where the public demand is like, hey, enough people are talking about it. There's enough, whether it's Commander David Fravor, or the New York Times article, Jeremy Corbell, all these different videos that get released, where there's enough credible people talking about it that they have to kind of address it. And if someone like a senator, like Marco Rubio, has a conversation with someone when they're saying, yeah, we have crashed UFOs and we have alien bodies and we're hiding it from the people.
Yeah, dude. And then where it gets...
And this has been going on for 80 years.
Here's the deal. If you are a politician and you realize we've all been briefed on this shit and it is coming out, and you other people don't have the guts to come out and say it, you realize to be the first politician who came out and told the truth. Now, there is benefit there. Yeah. There's a lot of benefit in, like, the courage to come out and, like, support whistleblowers. Because, dude, I read an analysis of it that's so creepy because it points out that U.S. taxpayer money is being allocated to, if it's true, I'm saying, our taxpayer money is getting allocated to some organizations that are outside the control of the U.S. government. This is, and has been doing it for 50, 60 years. This is unconstitutional. Like, you can't do that. Like, what does that mean? That means that there is a second power structure within the government, truly like a secret something. And that is like, we're paying for it. And if you're benefiting from the technology, if you're selling the technology to private contractors and making money off of it, that's supposed to be for us, free energy, whatever it may be. Yeah. So that is where it's sinister.
Well, also imagine if you're the government. Imagine if you're, let's say, the Air Force, and you have control over some vehicle from another planet, where you have. If the airport wants jets, they don't make them. They hire someone to make them. They have a military contractor that has all the engineers and all the expertise, and they hire, you know, all these people that actually make jets. Right? They need a jet, they buy a jet. So if they acquire a spaceship, they're not going to hold on to it themselves. They don't have the people to fuck with this thing. They're going to bring it to the people that make those things. They go, hey, you guys make the stealth bomber. Tell me what the fuck this is. Right. Tell me what the fuck this is.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And can we make one? And if we can't make one, can we figure out how it runs?
Yeah, at least tell us how it runs. Do you have any idea? And I heard that, like, Jeremy was on my podcast, was talking about how it's apparently, I'm sorry, Jeremy, if I'm misquoting you. This is from me. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, so forgive me if there's a error in the way I'm saying it, but it's compartmentalized. Yeah. So some of the reverse engineering people theoretically don't even know that they're looking at wreckage. Yes.
That's what Bob Lazar said on my podcast. He said part of the problem is, like, science can't exist in a vacuum. Science is collaborative, and the metallurgy guys weren't talking to the propulsion guys. Nobody talked to anybody. You had, like, an area where you're allowed to go and look at the vehicle, and, you know, you were with your other teammate, and everybody reported on everything that was said and done, and
Yeah, man.
And it was too limited for them to ever really figure out, in his belief at that time. So we're talking about 1989. If what he's saying is true, what he was saying was that they were bringing him to this area, and he couldn't tell his wife, he couldn't tell anybody where he was going, and they were flying him to Area S4, where they had this UFO. They didn't have just one, they had multiple ones. And this sort of aligns with what Grush was saying. Because I think what Grush was saying is there's 12 of them. They have 12. Which is like, 12. Like, for real? Or are you guys like sending money to Ukraine you don't want me to know about, so you're showing me this? Like, that sounds so crazy.
Yeah, I don't buy the distraction theory, because it's like, man, the U.S. government's been doing weird shit with money.
Oh, but here's a distraction. What if this is just an advanced drone program? But when I'm high, it's like I could feel like where it connects to the bone. I feel everything. It just makes you more sensitive about what you're actually doing. And for martial arts techniques, particularly for striking, I feel like I incorporate leverage better into things. I have better balance in terms of like not trying to execute a technique when I'm off position, and it just makes me just more aware of like what's going on with my body.
I became obsessed with this thing called the, what was it called? You'd put the thing on your ankle, like you had like a little Velcro thing you'd wrap it on your ankle, and it had a tail, like this long, 4-foot long thing, and it was charged, and it sends out an electrical impulse that disturbs the shit out of the sharks. The shark's nose is an organ that senses electricity. So when a shark, it could be pitch black, it could be soot water, and they can still scope you from hundreds of yards away based on the electrical activity of your heart. And that organ is their nose.
If you killed 60,000 people with your company makes peanut butter, and that peanut butter killed 60,000 people, they'd be like, you gotta stop making peanut butter. But with the drug companies, they're like, oh, your experimental drug where you lied about all the tests killed 60,000 people? Well, we're gonna need a small portion of the money that you made as a fine. Like Vioxx. Vioxx made somewhere around $12 billion. It killed somewhere between 50 and 60,000 people, and they had to pay somewhere in the range of $5 billion in fines. That's wild, because that means you are allowed to profit $7 billion and kill 50,000 plus people. Did you see that interview with him? He said, do you want Russia to win? He goes, no, I want people to stop dying.
Yeah.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people.
Mr. President, can I just follow up on that, because that's a really important statement
let me
that
just
you just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done.
It's crazy that that's a controversial statement.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that because he's saying it,
right,
they invalidate it.
Exactly.
It's so weird. Like, it's not good to blow each other up. That's truth. It's truth.
Girl broke up with you, and you feel like you're the worst. You're a fucking loser. Like, you're a piece of shit. But then you go out with your friends, and you have a few laughs, and next thing you know, you're laughing, and you're like, I'm all right. We'll be all right. And then maybe you meet a new lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she, like, picks you up, and you're like, oh, we're going to be okay. And then you learn from the last mistakes.
Yeah.
That's life.